Writing and editing 2 videos in one weekend is certainly not the easiest thing in the world, but who am I if not ambitious, eh? Well, this is your lucky weekend as we are doing a double feature of Suspicion movie review and the finale of Smart Money Woman. If you have not seen my Suspicion movie review, just check it out. It's the video before this one. All right, back to the show. So we finally come to the last 2 episodes of the Smart Money Woman season 2. And of course, the end of my review series. So I suppose you would forgive me for being a little talkative in this one. Well, when I started, I honestly just wanted to do for the first 2 episodes, but people seem to like it, so I just continued. And as it happens, I think this is the first Nigerian series I've ever finished. So yeah, congrats to me. Okay, let's get this review started. Now, when I reviewed episode 7, I made a note of Tammy being all lovey-dovey with Bobby, even though she knew that he had been playing around with the social media influencer Sabrina. I guessed that the filmmakers forgot to make the connection somehow, but people in the comments thought that was just her style because she was a playgirl and therefore didn't care. Well, I've been vindicated. In episode 9, when she goes out with Bobby to watch his football team play, she had to take a photo with his phone, and so she saw Sabrina's messages to him. Miss what though? That's just a normal photo. Did she mistakenly send full picture instead of nudes or what? Now, Tammy reacts strongly to this, and that's how you know the filmmakers forgot that she had already seen something like this about 2 episodes ago. This just confirms my suspicion that they upload these things without watching it. Now, to be clear, I really like the Smart Money Woman series. It has a theme that they mostly follow, and it actually makes sense. I may not agree with some things and plots and some storylines, but Smart Money Woman is a definite must-watch for people, especially young women who are interested in actually learning about finance while getting entertained. If I sound nitpicky, it's because a lot of it is actually filler that is not well written and not very well executed technically. And from where I'm sitting, it feels like it was made by people who quarreled during and after the filming. Like, I'm almost willing to bet on it. Or did they spend all the budget in South Africa? It just reeks of some sort of weird incompetence that was avoidable. So I just have to believe that maybe they fought after shooting it. I want to pause here for a bit and say a big thank you for your support of this channel over the last few months. So I started this channel about almost exactly 4 months ago, and the response has been amazing. This channel has been on my mind for about 6-7 years. I even bought my mic like 2 years ago, but I never actually got into it until July of this year, and I'm really glad I did. We've had, over the last 4 months, we've had about more than 60,000 views. We have almost 900 subs, and I'm glad that you find the content entertaining. I hope I'm able to get to at least 1,000 subscribers soon, because I would like YouTube to recommend my videos to more people. I'm also pleased to say that I've had a few invites for collaborations across different media. It's not something I feel like I am super ready for yet, but I'll let you, of course, know how it goes. I'm still trying to set a cadence for video uploads. I'm thinking weekly so that I stay relevant in the algorithm, which is why it helps so much when you like and comment and subscribe. Now, Lara dragged Zuri to a football game to get her mind off Shola. See, I'm honestly tired of those 2 people, by the way. But Shola happens to breeze in later with that is background noise of a girlfriend or friends with benefit. I don't know. By the way, why doesn't she have a speaking role? Like, she's just an extra in front of the camera. I'm not saying she has to have like a personality or something, but let her not just be hovering like marine spirit with unfinished business now. Like, it's just so odd. Shola and his babe's presence distract Zuri from chatting with a young man who struck up a conversation with her. And that scene was just so awkward for 4 of us. And by 4 of us, I mean Lara, Zuri, Ubong the venture capitalist, and me sitting on my couch at home. When someone approaches you girls anyway and says something like,
"My name is Ubong. I'm a venture capitalist,"
that is your cue to call Uber, because you may not know it, but that is just bottom pot behavior, just bottom barrel, the lowest. I don't know if you expected Zuri to start pitching her startup or something. Like she should tear her pant or something. I beg, the guy should better go and invest in learning how to talk to women. Shola comes over later to start guilt-tripping Zuri, and for somebody who sat on a very high horse just an episode ago, I was irritated he was even talking to her. Ubong, the venture capitalist, later asked for Zuri's number before telling her he noticed her staring at Shola earlier and that he thinks Shola is also not over her, and then wishes her good luck. Like, Like, dude just switched from toaster to therapist. So why did he then take her number? So throughout these episodes, we've had Demi and Ochuko carry on some uninteresting side story about being in an open relationship or something. Now, like, this person on my screen right now actually declared the relationship open. I don't know why your girlfriend will look like this and then you use your oily akarama to ask for open relationship. Like, do you think you are doing her? Anything you see, you take it like that. So it's like a side plot for Demi, but I never mentioned it because it didn't really interest me much, especially as Ochuko doesn't act very natural. Must be all that oil blocking his glory. We see another side of Lara in an intense scene where she happens on her brother's female visitor wearing a dress that had been handed down to Lara from her mother. I like this scene because Tonitones' usual calm, controlled demeanor was shattered as she almost screamed herself hoarse. It so happened that this outburst, as well as her brother's philandering, may be their own way of dealing with the loss of their mother, which it seems they had never really spoken about. So a bit of healing happened afterwards. But for me, my private thought was that this scene all looks a little forced. Like, you people have just been going on. Wait, let me go back a little. First of all, I thought that Lara just gave her brother the perfect excuse for his bad behavior by attributing it to the loss of their mother. Like, it's like the person who wrote this doesn't know that a young honey boy plus money plus highbrow living plus no rent to pay equals a lot of, let me check my notes, female visitors. Now, Lara is having to deal with quite a bit in this episode. But that scene in front of the water where she and her brother bond over shared trauma, I felt it was like too forced. I didn't believe it, and I didn't believe the guy's acting. Because of a debacle on episode 9, Lara is currently not on good terms with Adesua, who frowned upon her dalliances with a married man. I didn't watch season 1, so I didn't realize that the guy that was stressing Lara was actually married. But you see, I don't think Adesua actually knows her friend well. When Zuri and Shola broke up, Lara was on team screw that guy and get your money, even if it means doing business with Sheni and his family. So it makes sense that Lara would entertain a married man's attention if it would get her some opportunities. Sure, she entertains him and hugs him and stuff, but though I never really got the impression that she would let it go further than that. I mean, the guy rented out the whole restaurant for her and she just kept her face straight. This beef is now expensive. This wahala with Adesua lasts like the 2 episodes, so I'll come back to it later because I also wanted to talk about someone else, which is Adesua's husband. Now, Soji got thrown out of his girlfriend Chinasa's house, but I was more fascinated by his 3 related wardrobe changes during the same day. Like, he starts out with an oversized red and black get-up. Then maybe he branches to his tailor during the day because he comes back in red, only to be thrown out. Then obviously branches to another tailor because he ends the day in pink and red. He also discovers that a friend in need is a friend in deep shit because none of his friends suddenly have space for him after he becomes homeless. He tries to sneak back into Adesua's life, but she stopped him dead in his tracks. And I laughed when she actually looked at his box and asked,
"Those are the things you brought for us, Abby?"
And by the way, I thought her dress or whatever she's wearing was absolutely stunning. The women in this series have some good clothes, sha. Maybe except, strangely, Tammy, the fashion designer, who doesn't seem to ever know what to wear. By the way, if you are still here, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe so that the YouTube algorithm will boost this video. Thank you very much. It's very helpful. Now, the last 20 minutes of this thing was just dedicated to Zuri and Shola, and I honestly skipped some of the parts. Like, they just kept yapping at the rest. I'm not interested. This story is not this. Your relationship is not suiting me at all from the beginning. So please. I consider it just repetitive. I could see the script had ended, but they had to fill the runtime somehow. But I was not invested enough because this relationship did not honestly feel interesting before they broke up. They have always just sounded so formal. I'm not sure why episode 9 is 55 minutes, why the episode 10 is about 40 minutes. Like, they did not need this filler in episode 9. Well, don't worry, I'll get back to this. Episode 10 is like one whole episode of filler, but it's really pretty because it was filmed in South Africa, which is like its own vibe. But I didn't like it. It just always felt stretched. They spent the first 5 minutes at the beginning inside the plane just gisting about business class tickets. I understand that the series was trying to teach you how to upgrade to business class from economy, but damn, it took far too long. It just felt like everyone was tired and we're just rambling. And the audio was quite dirty. I could clearly hear a loud hum from a generator or something that I found distracting. So the women are in South Africa for an Agenda Women Conference, which is some sort of financial thing. And Shola plans to surprise Zuri. Though I am not at all sure why this is also not a surprise to us. I don't think we needed to know about the coming engagement or proposal while it was still in the plan. Like, she called him while he was on the work call and he actually picks it for some reason while he's on the call. He later apologizes to whoever was on the call with him and says,
"Trust me, I want to surprise my girlfriend, and yeah, that's it."
And then the scene just cuts. God. We didn't know Bobby was coming to surprise Tammy and beg for her forgiveness in South Africa, especially for involving himself with Sabrina. By the way, I like that she dismissed him without any long story. So I don't know why we had to know about Shola's surprise and engagement. I think it would have been better if we were all surprised as well. By the way, I personally actually doubted that they were in South Africa at the beginning. But then they went to a club and suddenly Zuri didn't look so thick anymore. And the cameraman began doing the Lord's work and I was like, yes, this is South Africa. There is this guy at the club that kept dancing like a robot while trying to get Lara's number. And it was just so funny how he just stood there bobbing to the beat while looking awkward as hell. I don't know what's happening with the men in these 2 episodes because later on, that's the next morning, Lara meets a guy at the gym and he says,
"The name's Hosi, by the way. It's one for Kim."
Like, who cares? Why are you people saying your occupation and the meaning of your names after introduction? Like, is it Chris? I'm glad this second guy actually immediately acknowledges that he messed up, Sha. I'm thinking like maybe the people who wrote these scenes have never spoken to women before, or is it one of those things that they shoot on the fly, even though it's not in the script? They hang out for a bit and Lara ends up getting laid and maybe high, because towards the end of the episode, I really couldn't tell if she was actually high or if she was just acting high. Lara and Adesua finally settled their differences during a lemon squeeze group therapy session. And it was like somebody was cutting 400 tons of onions. Filmmakers, you see how stupid it sounds when you say something like 400 tons of something, eh? If you don't get the reference, please check my offshoot review so you understand what I'm talking about. I also want to mention this mad woman for a bit. This lady never actually, I think, smiles or says a kind word this entire season. And she just made me think of an angry chewing stick. But I think I like how she turns her nose up at everything, even when nobody is fighting with her. Her story, well, didn't really come full circle because she's in South Africa with the girls doing Inspire to Perspire, and still I saw to a group of women. I would have wanted to see if she lost anything or had some comeuppance in her divorce from her Momo husband, because I don't think the divorce was like enough of a loss for her. And so we close it up with an unlikely Zuri and Shola engagement. I say unlikely because I think Shola is the most badly written main character in this series. Anyways, yeah, finito, the end. Now, I want to talk about the actual characters and how I felt while I was watching this series. Like I've mentioned before, Tammy is my favorite character because her problems early on were so real and relatable, since she was running a business and we could see the numbers and we could see her descent from fly girl to terrified businesswoman. You know, sort of like how it is in real life when you get serious about business. I don't know what she was like in season 1 because I didn't see it, but there was obviously a lot of character development from small girl, big girl to a proper market woman. And weirdly, my favorite scene of hers is where she calls Lara to talk about Shola and his girlfriend. Like her facial expressions while she was expressing confusion. It really, really got me. I really like it. It just felt so natural. Now, Shola is a sore point for me, and by extension, Zuri. Shola has the most uninteresting story of the main character. I know there was all that yapping about a film fund and not a single scene about what it is that they actually did with it, or about the business itself. His story was not fleshed out to a point of believability, and I didn't buy it. I didn't really like his scenes because he's either complaining or his face is strong. I don't know. Well, my favorite scene of his is just nothing. That's just how unimpressed I was. I don't know if that actor is actually like that in real life, but I don't know. Adesua is a single mother for all intents and purposes because her husband is useless. Her coming ex-husband is useless. My favorite scene of hers is the convo with her mom in, I think, episode 2 about the place of a woman in a marriage. And it really sold me on her, especially since I did not particularly like her the first time I saw her. I really liked her acting, and she feels weirdly mature, not in age, but in character. She just seems like she's wiser because she's going through it. I like how she took control of her life from her useless husband and actively sought for a divorce despite the financial damage it would cause her. A strong female character if there ever was one. Zuri, Zuri, Zuri. I've collected plenty of insults over this girl in my comment section. I like her dressing. I just don't sometimes really like how she sounds, and I don't find her story particularly compelling or straightforward, especially since we spend so much screen time with her. Like, I think I got the impression that Zuri is the main character in this thing. Now, if you remember, someone told her about house flipping in an earlier episode. And then we later learned that she actually does shortlet. So why was house flipping news to somebody who is smart enough to rent 3 apartments from a landlord and convert them to shortlet? Surely it's basically just a short walk from there to actually owning the house and flipping it. I didn't find her relationship with that moody guy interesting in the least, and she should honestly be terrified at the prospect of having children with that guy. Her acting is genuinely funny. Like, I'm not even hating because of how awkward it can be sometimes, but it's what it is. I like her in general. I like her. Tonitones gives the most boss energy of the bunch, and I think she played it well in general. No complaints, calm, collected, but nothing particularly stands out since we don't really get much insight into her personal or dating life this season, except just for the death and the funeral of her mother. It's mostly all about, work or money. This show is obviously funded with a lot of sponsorship and product placement. You have the thing called Bankly, which I'd never actually heard of before. You have the Luno coin. We have the House of Lara. It's obvious if you watch the show that these are the sponsors. Now, I didn't mind all the product placement here and there, but I kind of frowned on the crypto ad by Luno. Crypto is a very volatile instrument, and in my opinion, should not come near basic financial advice for people who have not been exposed to it previously or who have not really researched that sort of thing. You can grow poor very quickly, even if you know what you are doing. So the Luno ads were like a no-no for me personally, especially as the people with the Luno app in this series always seem to have like a lot of money in it. And because they never actually mention the risks involved, I hope they are not giving the wrong impression somehow that it's always profitable when you venture into crypto. As I mentioned before, it does seem like there was a lot of conflict behind the scenes before this movie was actually released. You can see that in the good intention, the nice locations, but then the really bad audio, the bad editing. They even traveled to South Africa, and I'm assuming that whole thing was not cheap, but somehow the series ended up looking cheaply made. Oh well, I guess it's just what it is. All in all, I'm glad this series exists, and I highly recommend it. Okay, that'll be all from me. If you're still here, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for the algorithm, and I'll see you next time.